Hi everyone, Niamh here, and today I'm really excited because I'm going to show some of the latest bags that I've made and a few other goodies, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, it's been about 2 months since I've done a video like this showcasing bags that I've made for my decks, and in that time I've made quite a few bags. So let's go to my table and we can look at some pretty bags and some other goodies. So yeah, come join me. All right, so here we are at my table, and I'm going to start this off with the first bag that I made since the last video that I did, and I made this bag like right after that video, and so here we go. And I'm really excited about this one because it's probably my favorite. So I'm starting off with my favorite, and yeah, so here we go. So it is this one here, and this, as you can see, is alien themed. So what deck is this? What deck is this? I think you guys know. Yeah, so let me pull it out, and of course it is the Desert Illuminations. So the reason why I really loved this bag, one, it took me a long time to figure out what embroidery I wanted to put on it, what design I wanted to do, but there's a whole suit of chilies in this deck, and you know, because obviously I wanted to have aliens on here. Obviously, I wanted to do a desert theme, but I wasn't sure exactly what embroidery I wanted on this one. And chili seems really simple, but like there's a whole suit of chilies. So I was really feeling drawn to that, and I went back and forth because there were some alien designs I liked. There were some cactus designs I really liked, but ultimately I decided to go the route of the chilies and embroider some chilies on there. And I also embroidered all the way around, hopefully that focuses, these little aliens. So there we go. And this fabric, the cactus fabric, is actually the same fabric that I used for the High Desert Oracle, which I've shown on my channel before. But yeah, I use the same fabric there. Now, my favorite thing about the bag, obviously, are these little alien ends. Yeah. But first, like, here's the inside. I went with this like teal geode fabric, which I thought really mimicked the sky in the box. So I thought that was a cool pick for that. And then, of course, this kind of Southwest style little border going around. But yeah, I love the little aliens. I made these as like little standalone patches, and then sewed them around the ends of the ties, and it's super cute. And once the deck is inside the bag and tied up, I tie it up, and then I just leave these sitting right here on top, and I think it's really cute. So I'm very happy with the way this one turned out. I think one of the things that I did in a previous video going over bag creations was I kind of used the bag itself in the middle and kind of did that card on either side. Oh, there we go. A card on either side, like it's an oracle card, but just showcasing the bag here. So maybe I'll do that in the next ones. So yeah, so what do you think? Did this one turn out pretty cool? I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like we've started off with a banger because these little alien ends were just my favorite thing, and I'm really I'm really considering doing this to a lot of my different decks, even the ones that I've already made, just making little ends and sewing them to the ends. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, so there we go. There is the Desert Illuminations bag. Oh, and it is large enough for the box itself. So my bags, I typically try to make them large enough for the bags, for the boxes. But sometimes, you know, each deck is sort of made on the fly, and sometimes they turn out a little bit smaller. So I might end up taking the box out of it. But here's it all tied up. Isn't that cute? I think this is so cute. And it just kind of sits in the shelf like that. So really cute. So the next one is really simple. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to grab another bag to kind of show with this that I've already made, long made, but these decks sort of kind of go together. So I'll grab the other bag. So of course, this is my Crow Tarot, which I've already made this bag. So this is not a new bag. Yeah, this is for the Crow Tarot here. And I, of course, love this bag. It's a little bit different than how I currently make my bags, but yeah, this was kind of at the beginning of me starting to change up how I was making my bags, but I do really like the way this one turned out. And so the bag that I just made is actually for the Urban Crow Oracle. So the Urban Crow Oracle. I was like, I almost said tarot, but so I did technically make this large enough for the box itself, but it's a little too tight, and so I decided to just forego the box and just put the deck in there. So this is obviously a lot more simple than because I didn't go with an embroidery. I just went with this printed fabric here. So yeah, I think this looks super cool. So a nice simple one. We got this kind of crow slash raven sort of background here with skulls and flowers and things like that, like wands. I like the wands. Yeah, and I think it's just very nice and simple. And I went with like a maroon kind of velveteen inside, velour, and then the same border that I used on the Crow Tarot. So it's the same border. So there we go. It looks redder on this one because of the red, the slightly different color red that I used on this bag. I don't think I have this fabric anymore, so I probably would have used that fabric on the inside, maybe, because I actually kind of like this like more burgundy red. So so there we go. So there, a nice simple one, no embroidery, just the design itself. Okay, so the next one is an old deck, but a new bag. And I've talked about this deck quite a bit on this channel, but I never had a bag for it. And I finally got around to making a bag. And this is probably the second one I made after that Desert Illuminations. And it is this beautiful bag here, which I really like. Yeah, so, and it's very nice and sweet and simple. I really want to create some Celtic knots or something to put on the ends because they're already fraying a little bit. So I would like to do the same sort of thing that I did with the Desert Illuminations. Just make a few little like Celtic knots and put them on the end because I already need to trim off a little bit of the fraying here, but that's okay. So this is a nice pastel colored deck. So it is, of course, for the Shadowscapes Tarot. So I have had this deck for eons. I've probably had this deck, you know, since like 2013 or so. So I've had it for quite some time, but I never had a bag for it. And I do like this deck. However, it's not my typical style. But I don't want to like it's one of those decks where I don't quite connect with it, and that's part of the reason I never ended up making a bag until recently. And I love this bag; it turned out so pretty. But it's just one of those decks that I just, even though I don't use it very often and I don't quite connect with it, the artwork is a little bit difficult to interpret, I guess. It's beautiful, but I have a hard time interpreting this deck. And also, I'm not the biggest fan of pastels. Pastel isn't really my choice usually, but it is absolutely stunning artwork. And in a weird way, I'm just kind of bonded to this deck, even though I don't use it very often. But I just can't bring myself to part with it. And so I finally got around to making this beautiful little bag for it, and I really like it. So it's got this like velour flower fabric, which I've had since my kids were babies, and my oldest is an adult, and you know I have a teenager and an almost teen, so I've had this fabric for an extremely long time, and Yeah, but I remember making diapers out of this fabric. So, because all my kids were in cloth diapers when they were young. But yeah, so there's a few extra strings I gotta cut off, but there we go. So I'm pretty happy with this. So what do you think of the Shadowscapes bag? All right, these strings are driving me nuts. So before I put this away, I'm just gonna trim off the the little frays here. And these are not the scissors I normally use for cutting thread or fabric or anything. These are paper scissors, but they're doing the job for right now because that's all I had right here. So so much better, so much better. There we go. Cut off the little frayed parts. There we go. So there we go. All right, so the next one is this beautiful bag. I really like this. This turned out really nice. And oh my gosh, I just thought to myself, how cool would it be if I embroidered like a sun on one side and a moon on the other side for this? That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm having all of these ideas now since that bag that I made. And this is, of course, for the Star Codes Astro Oracle. Yeah, so this was a fun one. I went back and forth on what the design I was going to use was. I'm just going to pull out these cards real quick. Here we go. All right, so I'll just split it. We'll do that deal. There we go. Maybe I need to pull back a little bit so we can see this a little better. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, so yeah, so this is like, it's like a dark blue, really fluffy. I mean, it does catch a little bit of lint there, but it's a really fluffy fabric, like minky. And I probably use this fabric, like a lot of my fabric I actually use to make diapers for my kids. Obviously, this was not used. It was just the fabric that I've had in my garage and stuff. So, yeah, so, I really like the way this turned out. It took me a while to decide what I wanted for the center image. There were lots of different celestial options. I almost went with a butterfly, like a celestial butterfly. That would have been nice. But I don't know. I think the meaning of the hourglass just made the most sense for what kind of deck this is. Yeah, because this is all about time and, our position in the universe and moving through time, because it's an sorry, I just had to clear my throat. But it's an astrological deck. So it's, I don't know, the hourglass and the celestial themed hourglass just seem to make the most sense. So, and of course on the inside I have, it's very celestial, and there's actually a sparkle to it, but it's hard to see this inside fabric. Of course, the ribbon around here is sparkly gold, which I like. But there's a slight shimmer to the inside fabric, but it may not be picking up on camera. So, yeah, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I've been wanting to do a bag for this deck for quite some time. So, and of course, as you saw, I made this large enough to fit the box itself. So there we go. All right, so that is the bag for the Star Codes. Okay, so the next bag is actually not one that I made. It's one that Coco here on YouTube, and if I remember, I'll put her channel in the description or in the comments. I mentioned this a few times in other videos, but I didn't tag her in that, and I didn't end up putting her in the description, specifically because I was talking about the deck that I'm sending her, and it's kind of a surprise for her. She knows she's getting a deck from me and a bag that I made for it, but she doesn't know what it is. And yeah, so and she probably has not seen my videos, so I intentionally didn't tag her in it for that reason. So I didn't actually forget that time. That those videos, I just intentionally, I said I would tag her, but then I was like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should wait until I send out the bag that I made for her. And I actually just sent that out today. And I'm not, so of course I'm not going to show it in here, but this is a bag that she made for me, and here it is. So it's a cute little thing here. This is, of course, for the Calic cards. yeah, the Cowlick cards. Really cool deck. And she crocheted this bag herself. So it's really cute. I love it. And I specifically asked for like really earthy colors because this is quite an earthy deck. So like browns, autumny colors. The autumn suit in this deck is just gorgeous. I love the autumn suit in this. I think my least favorite suit in this deck is probably the summer suit, but because this is a deck all about seasons. I also like this one. This is cool. All the green ones. Oh, I love the bee. I think that's technically summer. Yeah, but yeah, the autumn cards in this deck are just stunningly beautiful and very magical feeling. There's even a Ouija card somewhere in here. Oh, that's just like the birthday cake. I love that, and I love that it's in the autumn season because my birthday is in the autumn season. I'm a Libra, so I love that the birthday card is in the autumn suit. So love that. Where is that Ouija? I probably passed it somewhere. There's a Ouija card, so I really like that one too. But anyway, so she made this for me. Coco made this for me. I love it. It's gorgeous. So there is no snappy. There's nothing to keep it closed. So I was trying to brainstorm what I would add to this to basically make it so that it stays shut, you know, so it doesn't like fly open or whatever. It does a pretty good job staying shut though, so it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, so I kind of played around with the idea that I might knit because I don't crochet, but I do knit. And so I could knit like a little band or something right here that it could tuck into, maybe. I could do that. I was also thinking about sewing some ribbon on here that I could just tie around or tie the other way. That's an option. But I think I've decided what I want to do with this to make a closure. Yeah, because one of the other things I was thinking about was a button. So I could sew a button right here and like force open a hole, which I really don't want to do. So what I'm going to do, I have a snap press. And that's actually what I used to use all the time when I used to make diapers for my kids when they were babies. The diapers closed with snaps. So I have a snap press. I haven't used it in a few years, but I have one. And one of the things that I made using my snap press when one of my kids was a toddler. She had little booties, little boots that were very cute, and I think I made them actually. And so they snapped closed, but I made the snap itself or a design on it interchangeable. Yeah, I made a design on it interchangeable. I made these lace like flowers in a bunch of different colors, and then I put one end of the snap in that, and then one end of the snap on the little boot, and then I could switch out the little flower design, and it was really cute. So I don't want to do an interchangeable thing, but I was thinking about making like another like lace flower or something, and then snapping it right here and just having a snap closure, because then also because there are some natural holes in the fabric, the yarn, of course, because it's crocheted. I don't have to like ruin the design or anything. I can find one of the center holes here and put one end of the snap in there, and it'll it's wide. The circumference is wide enough that it will secure around here. It won't like pop through or anything. And she did such an amazing nice and tight crochet here, so it feels very, very sturdy. And then put the other end right here, so that way I can just snap it closed. So there we go. So I'm really excited about this. Thank you so much, Coco. I love it, and I hope you love your bag. All right, so the next ones, they are connected to another project that I've done. So all right, I'm going to show the bags first, and then I'm going to show the extra goodie. And if you follow me on Instagram, you have seen these extra goodies. And if you don't, go follow me on Instagram. Yeah, so I'll put the name of my channel up on the screen. Yeah, and I post a lot of stuff on Instagram. You know, if I do post some of the bags that I create and stuff long before I do these videos. So before these videos come out, you'll often see a lot of the bags that I make. Though most of these I haven't shared. But I also, on my Instagram, it's mostly the Japanese stuff, like my Japanese language journey. So that's largely what my Instagram is. But I do post like witchy stuff, usually every Wednesday, or try to do every Wednesday, witchy Wednesdays. And that includes tarot. And I do some crafty stuff on there as well. And, you know, and sexy selfies. So, anyway, I'll show the first bag here. This is really cool. I love this one. This is for the True Sight Oracle. Yeah, so this turned out really cool. Yeah, so here we go, the True Sight. I love the D20 that I did here, and I love the top number here. Well, technically the top number is 20, but the prominent side that we see is number 8, and 8 is my favorite number, so that was a happy accident, and I really like that. There's an added string here that I'm going to have to trim off. It's driving me nuts. But yeah, and then this fabric here that's over, you can't really see the design unless, especially not on camera, but in person you can kind of see it. But it has a lot of like adventurers tools and things like that for like D&D campaign type stuff, or video game type stuff. And it's actually the same fabric that I used for my Zelda deck, the Legends of Zelda Tarot. So I reused it right here, but on the inside, this was cool. This was a t-shirt that I got on our trip to Kansas, and I trimmed the shirt because it was a little too long for my liking. I like to wear my shirts a bit more fitted, so I tailored the shirt, and then I had like a lot left over on the bottom because I'm really tiny. I'm 4'10", so I didn't want to just throw away the fabric, so I decided to reuse it, and I reused it in the bag that I made. So there we go. And the outside fabric is like a black velour. I really like it. Now, of course, this deck is a black and white deck, so there's no color in this whatsoever. So I definitely deviated by adding some color to this one. And it's because I didn't like every idea that I was coming across for a black and white deck. I wasn't loving, so I decided to mostly go black with the bag, but add a pop of color. And I thought purple was a great choice for this, and it's kind of got that kind of magic-y vibe, kind of that tabletop RPG sort of vibe to it. And of course, this beautiful D20 on the top is super cool. Yeah, I love the way this turned out. Now, I'm going to put this away, but we're going to come back to this to show what I made to go with this. And of course, as you saw, I made this large enough to fit the whole box. So there we go. I'll tie this up, and I think I am going to trim off this little piece here. There we go. All better. It's all gone now. All right. So I'm going to show the next decks. There's 2 decks because they go together, and I will show the bags first. And here we go. So here we go. I love these. So this one I'll show first. So these are for the Memento Mori. The main bulk deck is in this one, and I actually did make it large enough for the box. It's just right now it's not in the box. So here's the box for it, and the box does fit perfectly fine. There's no struggle getting it in or out. However, I intentionally made this just a little more roomy. I guess I'm showing this one first. And that's because the inside, because this deck often has a lot of added cards or expansions. So when it's in the box here, along with the little guidebooks, it's at the brim, like it's at the top of the box. And I did just order a few more extra cards for this deck. So I was like, you know what? I think I might just leave it outside of the box. So there we go. So anyway, the bag itself, I love this. I actually, I just finished making this, and I also just shared pictures of this and the other bag. Actually, I didn't share the other bag on my Instagram, but I shared this on my Instagram. And so here's the special thing. We see that we have this like skull woman framed, a cameo of this skull woman here. And then in the background, we have a lot of flowers, and that was to mimic the design of this deck that has like, you know, a lot of that kind of imagery where it's like got this darker image in the front and then like flowers in the background. I'm see if I can focus here a little bit. Yeah, so that was, you know, because that was the style of this deck, I added flowers in the background. Yeah, so it was a lot of layering of different designs here that I did. And then on the edge here, we have this sparkly skull. Ooh, focus. Let's see, sparkly skull here. And the inside is actually the same as this. It's the same fabric here. So it's like got a bunch of different designs in here. It's like, focus, here we go. Very like, you know, anatomical stuff, skeleton type stuff, skulls, very, what is the, like kind of curio type stuff, curio type images there. Yeah, but here's the special thing that I did with this bag. It is not just this side. So most of my other decks, I just embroider one side because the other side is where the seam is. And because I make it, you know, where the embroidery is in the center, and then I fold it around and I close it off right here. And the inside is also seamed in the center. But this one I did different. And the reason was I wanted it to be double-sided. So the other side is a male skeleton figure, a cameo of him. And yeah, so this is super cool. So what I did with this one, and as you can see, the seams are down the sides on this one. Which, you know, I hope to do more of these in the future, but this was a little bit of an experiment, and as you can tell, it's not quite perfect because this one turned out not totally centered. Sorry about the dog, by the way. So yeah, because as you can see, like the frame is a little bit higher than it should be, and I realized what it was. It's because the designs themselves are actually pretty close. This is actually even a little bit higher, but this frame itself was actually taller than this one, and I didn't realize that when I made them. Otherwise, I would have created this. I would have moved this one further down on these flowers. I would have kept the flowers at the same spot, but I would have moved this down a little bit. But as I said, you know, this is not a technique I normally do. So, I think it turned out really nice. So like on my other decks, the seams are at the bottom and in the back. And this one, it's just on the sides. So it was one long piece of fabric that I tried to measure it so that it would be good. And it looked good until I put the border on. And then I realized that this one was up a little higher. But it is what it is. But I love the way this turned out. And it's super, super nice. So, and I think it looks fantastic with these cards. So there we go. Now I'm going to show the other one, the matching bag that I made, because this one is actually for all of the added sets. So my main deck here is the base deck plus 2 expansions, and I also took out the Lenormand cards in here. So I have the Lenormand as its own thing, and I have like at least one other box in here of its own thing. But all of the folk magic cards are in this one. The general expansion is in this one. And most of the cards that I buy from Claire Goodchild, that's the name of the creator. most of the added cards that I add will probably go in the base one. But this one, and I made this one nice and simple. There's no embroidery. I did the opposite of this, which is what I often like to do when I make companion decks, kind of reverse the fabric. So I've got this like shimmery gold fabric on the inside instead of the outside. This is like a satin or sateen or something like that. And the inside is actually the 3 little boxes here. So one of them is actually empty, but I keep it just in case there's things I want to add to this one. And I do have a couple cards in here, like extra cards. But in here I have, it says the general expansion, but it's actually the Lenormand cards. So that's what's in here. This is the Lenormand, and this is the Ancestors and Advisors pack. And I do also want to get the timing pack, so those 3 can go in here. And then I might have this one as a little extra, or I might make another similar bag for any added on expansions that I get from Black in the Moon. So there we go. And I love the way this one turned out too, because I like the frog turned out on the front. In the back here, this was hidden by the border, but it said like potions up here, but it was kind of really too high, so there was no way for that to show. And this was extra fabric, because this fabric right now is all gone. I don't have any more of this fabric. I think I got it from Spoonflower, so I might be able to get more of it. But yeah, and then the rest of this fabric I used on the next thing I'm going to show. Okay, so then the first thing I'm going to show here is it goes along with this this bag here for the True Sight Oracle. And I made this to match this. So it is a beautiful altar cloth / tarot cloth, and check it out. And it is reversible. Here's the other side, and I don't know if you can tell, I don't know if camera's picking it up, but it does have, I quilted a skull print all over, so it does have like a skull print all over. So I'm really excited about these, and yeah, this was the first one I made. I'm really happy with it. I have this huge embroidery in the center, and I don't know if the camera is really doing it justice, but it is gorgeous. Like, I took some nice pictures on it of it, and if I remember, I'll put some up on the screen. Like if I remember in editing, and you can see the vibrant colors a little better, probably. I don't know. I'll try to adjust the coloring in editing to make sure that you can really see how purple this purple dragon is, you know? And then the green D20 that it's holding on to. And now this side also has the skull quilting background, but I made it really subtle. So it's not very intrusive. And then I added these little pretty Celtic knot borders around the ends. So yeah, so and of course I have this like purple edging on both sides. This is I was experimenting a lot with this. And then on the ends I have black bias tape all the way around. So the next one that I made, because obviously I made another one, and it goes along with this deck. The next one I didn't do the lining right here on the other side because this was actually a big pain to do because I was putting the lining on after the two pieces were sewn together. So that was it was a little like tricky to do so that you didn't see the sew lines on both sides, you know what I mean? So I changed that up with the other one. But this is a big experiment, and the reason this is an experiment for me is because I'm thinking about making more like these. Obviously each one is going to be different, and I actually am thinking about selling them. So people have always asked me if I sell the bags that I make, and I always say no. And the reason is a lot of different reasons. One, you know, when you make a business out of your hobby, sometimes it kind of sucks the joy out of it. You know what I mean? So that's part of the reason. And I used to sell some of the diapers that I used to make and things like that. But so there's that. And then there's the added pressure to make it really beautiful. And because some of the items that I make have, sorry about that, the dog. I think it was a squirrel she saw in the window. But anyway, yeah, so like, a lot of my items, like, they turn out really cool. But the thing is, they do have their little imperfections. Those sort of imperfections are there. Like, I think I saw on this one, that the that this kind of curved up a little bit right here, and just like little mistakes like that. I'll have like little mistakes on my items, and I think I get worried that if I have these little mistakes here where this side isn't as even on this side, because it was a big experiment, that I'm gonna have like that people aren't gonna be happy with the things that they get, so that's part of it. And then, it's like that added idea of just because someone's good at something, they've got to capitalize on it, So, and that, that's there too. But I'm not against selling things that I make, and I do have an Etsy shop, and I do have a deck on MakePlayingCards. I don't know how good it actually is because I never actually bought the item, so I don't know if I need to adjust it or anything, but but I did make a deck that's on MakePlayingCards. So like, I'm not necessarily against that. I just don't like the pressure of it, you know what I mean? Plus, each bag that I make is so specific to the decks that I make them for that I'd have to standardize something. I would have to come out with a way to standardize the bags. And could I do that? Yeah. I mean, people do that left and right. There's lots of people here on TarotTube who sell bags that they make, and they do an amazing job. And maybe I should do that. Maybe I would get more views on YouTube. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, it's just, there's just been a certain pressure with selling bags that I make. However, when it comes to these tarot cloths, it's a little bit different because I can standardize these. Now, yeah, part of this was made to match this bag that I made, but they don't have to match, and I don't have to just use it with the True Sight Oracle. In fact, I'll put on screen some of the other decks that I used, that I placed on this cloth. So, obviously these are not meant to just be for one deck. So that opens things up for me. So I can make a more generalized altar cloth and sell that, or tarot cloth. Now, as you can see, it does have a specific size, and I think, I mean, this was the first one I made, so I'm still kind of adjusting the size. I think this was about like 15 by like 9 or something like that. If I remember in editing, I'll put up the dimensions of this one. But yeah, so these are large enough. I specifically made them large enough. Let me see if I can pull out a deck here. Let's see. All right, so I made them large enough to fit a row of 5 standard tarot size cards. Now this is of course the True Sight Oracle here. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I made it large enough so that it would fit a 5-card line, right? And it is technically large enough if we go to the edge. And I did make the next one a little bit larger than this, so that it fits on even better. So it is technically large enough to fit a total of 10 standard tarot cards. So that's nice. But I also had in mind cartomancy style decks, like grabbing a Lenormand deck here. So here's my Bitmoji Lenormand, and this is a mini size. It is a mini square size here, but it is large enough to fit a 9-card box. And we could do a 9-card box like this, do a little thing here, and it fits just nicely on here. My little Lenormand. Here we go. And there's enough room on either side that I can put tarot cards. I can do a single card on either side. Like I can do something like this. That works. Or you could do, I pulled out a oracle deck here that has, that's kind of large, and I could do one card here and then two tarot cards here, or do slant them like that. That works nicely as well. So yeah, that was kind of the I was just messing around, and the reason why it's this size, it's small enough that it can fit on a shelf, and it's kind of a little bit portable. And it is very bendy, so like it is quite portable. And I was thinking like it can roll up, because it is just, it's a stiffer fabric, because I used a stiffer, there's 3 layers of fabric, so there's a stiffer layer in the middle. So it does roll up, you know, so it is easier to travel with, and of course washable. But it's large enough to fit a good size reading, and you could even turn it this way if you want to use a larger Lenormand card and put it that way. So yeah, so that's but ultimately the reason why it's this size is because my embroidery hoop, the max design is this size. This went to its max limits on my embroidery hoop, so that's why I made it this size. That's ultimately the reason. So I've rambled on and on about this one. I just want to show the other one too. Okay, so the other one, really excited about this one. Here we go. Look how beautiful this one is, and this one is just a little bit larger than this one. So let me see if let me zoom out a little bit and see if we can see the size difference maybe. It's hard to tell. It is, like, we can see it is a little bit, it's probably like a 1/4 of an inch larger. So yeah, so it is, I love the way this one turned out. It's so pretty. And we cannot quite see because this fabric here is actually quite yellow or gold. But on camera, it really washes out. But in person, this fabric is quite gold. And it is the same fabric as this. And obviously, it goes to match the other Memento Mori decks. I think it looks lovely. And I put the male and the female figure here. And as you can see, this frame is a little larger than this frame. Yeah, it is. And this whole image, so here's where it's a little bit like not perfect. We see a lot of gapping right here where it's really short down, like it's up to the line down here. And that is because this image was centered, but this image also includes the flowers in the back. So it is actually centered. It's just not, the complete image is centered. It's just because the flowers went up so high, I should have moved them down a little bit maybe, so that this could be even more centered in the center there. But you know, live and learn, and that's one of the things I'm really, you know, fidgeting with this, like figuring out how, like, all the little slight mistakes I make with each iteration and how to fix it for the next one, you know, things like that. But I love how this image turned out. And then it took me forever to figure out what I wanted to put in the center, because I wanted to put 3 things. And part of that, let me pull out some of the cards from here so we can kind of showcase what I mean. Because one of the things I want to do with these things that I sell is I want to basically have spread positions right here. So we could have position 1, position 2, position 3, like that. And I quite like that. And so it's just kind of a creative way to have a 3-card position, but you're not like locked into that with this, because other tarot cloths that I've seen, or spread cloths, will have designated positions, which is totally fine too. And I'm also thinking about making some of those. But I thought this gave some freedom to, you know, there are 3 positions, but you could just ignore it and just have a regular reading like that, you know, so something like that. So it doesn't have to stick with what's on there. So yeah, so that was the idea there. And this was actually a triple moon thing where these moons were actually on either side of the center one. I just, in my editing program, I broke the design up and I moved one to the top and one to the bottom. And I like the way that looked. And of course we have the same skull border around. really nice. I do, you know, I am gonna have to like fidget with the next one I make. I'm gonna have to be much more careful about making sure it's even, because it does, you know, it is a little slanted in some areas, but you know, again, it's homemade. So, and I'm still trying to figure out all the little bits and pieces. But it is more noticeable on the back, and I haven't shown the back yet. But this was the rest of that fabric, so I have no more of this fabric anymore. And I think the kind of slightly crookedness of the design is more noticeable on the back, because this is really gridded. Kind of, it's got, you know, different kind of swatches of fabric, it looks like. I mean, it's all on one print, but it's different swatches of fabric. So because of that, you can kind of see where it's a little bit wonky. And so I'm definitely going to have to work on making this even all the way around, so it's as close to a true rectangle as possible. So and I see it curves out a little bit right here, you know, just little mistakes that I have with this, that again, this is my I guess self-consciousness. You know, we are our own worst critics, and a lot of people probably wouldn't even notice these little mistakes that I noticed. But yeah, but I love the way this looks, and I don't know if you can tell, but I did also use that same quilting pattern around here. It's the skulls quilted all the way around. So this is less noticeable as the other one, mostly because this has a design, but I wanted to have that little element here. And this side is what's actually sewn to the middle fabric that you don't see, that gives it its the stiffness and a little bit of cushion. So the inside fabric is what gives that. So because I want to keep it all together, I've got to quilt it together. So I like to do fancy little or decorative little stitches for that. So yeah, and this fits a lot of decks. I'll put up on screen some of the other decks that I've used with this cloth, and it turned out really cool. I love it with the Mildred Payne. I mean, it looks fantastic, because I have the mini version, and even if you have the deluxe version, you could still use it, but I like that this fits a nice box on here. Nice 9-card box with the hag in the middle. Ooh, okay. 9-card box fits really nicely, and there's enough room on both sides for a good amount of other cards. Like we could put something like that. And then I did do, I think I did do a little layout that kind of had something like this on there. And that looks cool. And I also have been experimenting with some playing card divination. And I have this bear deck that is fits a lot of the earthier colored decks that I have. Yeah, to get the Joker out of here. But like doing a one of the layouts that I do for card reading, for playing card reading, is like this. It's a 4-card, and it connects to geomancy. And so we got the 4-card geomantic figure here, and then we have the 9-card reading in the center, and close it off with like with a couple of these cards here. So yeah, I mean, I love the way this turned out, and I think there's plenty of room to work with on this. It's not a gigantic cloth, but it's nice and sturdy. It stays in one place. It doesn't move around. It's not flimsy, and it's cool, and it's decorative, and it's not intrusive. So I don't know. I think this is cool, and I'm looking forward to fine-tuning my designs here, and seeing what if I can maybe sell some of these and make some more. So what do you think? Do you like these? Do you think I should start making more and sell them? I've also been thinking about embroidering some cloths that have for charm casting, that have lines, designated lines around around a circle or something. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. So let me know what you think. And that is it. That is everything that I have made in the last like 2 months. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.